Welcome back to the Rounding Third podcast. This is episode 2 of the 2026 campaign. Co-host Sierra Sacco back in the studio with us again, as always. And today's new guest, Peja Goold, right-handed pitcher, senior by way of Northern California. There's been kind of a little bit of a Northern Cal pipeline the last couple of years. Of course, Coach Ricketts is from the Bay Area, San Jose. So Delaney kind of kick-started it. Now there's a few of you guys with you and Tatum and a couple more coming down the line as well. But excited to have you on the show. We kind of switched things up a little bit this year. Got the good old folks on the Twitter, or formerly known as X, I guess, nowadays, and Instagram, kind of make a vote on who was going to be today's special guest. And the voters spoken, and today it's going to be you. So welcome to the show, Peja.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here.
Let's see. First weekend out, 2-0, 10 innings pitched, 1 shutout. One essay. What does essay show? Shutout. Okay, I thought I had that right. I was like, man, is that a new one? It's a new 3-letter abbreviation. Taking it back to the 14 points from Woodrow Wilson there. For all you history buffs out there, you'll understand that reference. 3 hits allowed over the weekend. 1 run, no earned runs, 4 walks, and 10 Ks. So stellar debut for us. Stellar debut for you there. And yeah, what's it feel like now to kind of look into week 2? You kind of got 4 or 5 games under your belt now. Another big test in the midweek this week. So kind of what's it like now as we kind of roll into week 2 of the season?
Yeah, I'm excited to play again. My nerves started to calm. Got that first weekend out of the way. First time pitching in a state uniform. That felt like a huge deal. So the nerves were kind of up there, but getting through this weekend, seeing what we could do as a team and as a pitching staff, that I feel really good about the season coming.
Definitely. You were one that when your name hit the transfer portal this summer, it was one that a lot of teams knew of. A lot of teams were interested in. You had a lot of phone calls, I believe, as that portal window opened for you. What was the thing that kind of drew you to Mississippi State and ultimately made you decide to come be a Bulldog?
Yeah, well, first off, I got a call from Coach T-Brat, and I think you guys are like my 4th call, and it was pretty early on. You guys reached out quick, which was awesome, and I answered the phone call, and it turns out it wasn't just Coach T-Brat, it was the whole staff, and all of a sudden my heart rate jumped, because I was like, I'm not just talking to one coach, I'm talking to all of them. But I mean, it meant a lot to see that you guys were all sitting down waiting to talk to me, and that put a big imprint on me. So it was awesome talking to you guys, and you guys were so friendly, and you guys are truly who you are during the recruiting process. Outside of it, too, during season, you guys have not changed one bit.
Well, appreciate you saying that. And, it was one of those introductory phone calls. You're expecting, 5, 10, 15 minutes, kind of get to know one another. Hey, you interested in coming to see us and all that kind of stuff. Next thing you know, you look down and it's been 50, 55 minutes. And we're getting into really good dialogue back and forth. You had some tremendous questions for us, and it was just really good conversation. And then you came with your dad out here and had a good time meeting Dean and kind of getting to know him, too, out here. And yeah, next thing you knew, you're inking on the dotted line to be a Bulldog, and we got better the day that you said yes. So welcome aboard. Glad to have you. 1 out away from a no-hitter in the inaugural game of the season, the Baylor Bears in the Getterman Classic. Kind of what was going through your mind in the 4th, kind of going into the 5th. We had a big lead. Offense got the bats going early. But it's kind of one of those, you assume everybody in the dugout knows what's going on, but you don't ever talk about it. It's the old unwritten rule. You can't talk about it, but kind of take this into the mind of the pitcher. You may or may not have realized what was going on, but there's been 1 base runner, I think, allowed, maybe 2 base runners the whole game. And yeah, you look up there on the board and there's no hits in the hit column, but kind of what's going through your mind as you're getting into being 1 out away from a no-hitter in your debut?
Well, first off, I was tripping when I was looking at the Baylor scoreboard. There was so much going on that scoreboard.
Yes.
And so that was a good thing, because first 3 innings, I couldn't even figure out where the hits and the errors were, or any of that. So luckily I didn't notice it. I was trying to figure out where the balls and strikes were the first 2 innings, to be able to look behind me. But by 4th inning, I think I was kind of okay, wait, I haven't even realized what's gone on in this game yet. I've been going pitch by pitch, inning by inning. I haven't thought about the big picture. And so I went to go look, and that's when I saw it, and I was like, I mean, 4th inning, I do that pretty often. I'm pretty good with 4th inning, by the 4th inning, no hit still. And then I think by the 6th inning, I had to take myself to a corner and be quit thinking about it.
Yep.
And the funny thing is, literally last year, in my junior year, we played a team, and I one-hit them too, and I think it was the last inning I lost the no-hitter. Or actually, I think it was a perfect game, and then I walked the chick.
Yeah.
And, man. But, yeah, I haven't had a no-hitter yet, but I think last year I threw 6 one-hitters, and it was either the very first batter of the game or the last inning I lost it. So I don't know if there's a focus I need to work on in that last inning, but so I got to lock in. But I also, there was something I didn't tell Coach T yet, but, that ground ball that got hit to me. pure reaction to go get that ball. And the next 2 pitches, I do not remember. The next 2 pitches to that next batter after, I was just so amazed Z got there because I didn't know who I threw that ball to. Z did a great job at second base covering first whenever me and Paige and her were all going to the same ball. But the next 2 pitches to that next batter, I threw that 3rd pitch and struck her out, and I turned to Paige and I would go, how is she out already? And Paige is like, you just, like, that was 3 strikes. And I was like, no, I've only thrown 1 pitch to her. I don't know. I was like, I don't know what just happened. She goes, no, girl, you, like, struck her out. And I was like, oh, my gosh. I was like, I don't remember. I just remember the ground ball and then the pitch after, that 3rd pitch. But, yeah, that last 7th inning got a little fuzzy there, but I don't know. I guess I got to lock in on that last inning to finish my no-hitter.
You know, Nolan Ryan, Brian's from Texas country. Nolan Ryan, one of the great, the Ryan Express, one of the great Hall of Fame pitchers of all time, had the 7 no-hitters, which is a Major League Baseball record. But I think he had something like 31 hitters. It was an absurd amount of one-hitters. So, you know, if we're gonna link you and Nolan Ryan together, you know, that's not a bad stat line to kind of be a part of. You know, you mentioned Z, and you know, you look in that first game against Baylor, she had 6 putouts or assists, which is a lot for a second baseman, particularly in a 5-inning ball game. She was kind of all over the place, and that play you were referencing, it was such a weird spinny pitch off of a pretty speedy runner. Off the bat, Paige crashed thinking it might get to first, and then it kind of turned back to the mound. And then you look up, like you said, and Z's right there. And she did a tremendous job. She was kind of all over the place with the backhands up the middle, covering first and the short game stuff, and just really tip of the cap to her and the defense, you know, especially behind you. I think we left the weekend with a .991 fielding percentage. So second or third best in the SEC so far through 4 or 5 games. But certainly, you know, Coach Polk used to always say, timely hitting, pitching, and defense, those are the 3 ingredients to have a successful day, and we certainly had a lot of that throughout the weekend. Sacco, kind of what was some of the things that you were able to see with the team as we kind of got the first week rocking and rolling again?
Well, you know, I was just watching, and I loved our approach. I loved the hitting. I loved the pitching. Like, everything was pretty spot on, especially coming off the first weekend out. So it was good to see. Energy, effort, it was all there, stuff that you can't coach, so A+.
No doubt, no doubt. And we mentioned the bats getting hot early. We put up the crooked number of the first, a crooked number of the second. We love crooked numbers, you know. You know, we have a stat line we try to follow a lot, and it's the big inning. Big inning. Anytime you get 3 or more runs in an inning, usually equals pretty success when it's all said and done after the ball game ends. But we had a lot of big innings this weekend, really. But particularly in the Baylor game, 4 home runs. Key with the big blast to center, hit one over the scoreboard that you talked about. It's one of the few parks I know of where the scoreboard is right behind center field. You usually don't see that. It's usually kind of offset. But yeah, right behind center field. Key hit one over the top of that. Nadia got it going early on. First at bat of the year, 2-run shot after Styles got on with a single. Styles hit one left. A new pitcher came in the game. She kept a rise ball fair down the left field line for a big blast. So yeah, really, really good to see the long ball going. 4 home runs in the opening game. And then stellar pitching, stellar defense, and that's all she wrote. And back to the hotel to you know, little shameless plug to a good 90s song I knew growing up. But anyway, we want to show my age with that one. But yeah, back to the hotel. Then an early day the next day, doubleheader right up. You know, historically we haven't been a great 9:30 or 10 a.m. team, but it was good to see the bats come alive early on. Northwestern State kind of rolling in right into Game 2 of the Classic. Got out to a big lead early on. Anna Carter with a big 2-run base hit to right, got us a couple runs in. And then Taylor Troutman, somebody that got an at-bat, her first college at-bat the night before, drew a walk against Baylor. So really her first technical at-bat, not plate appearance, so she hit a bomb out to right center. And then followed it up with another home run her next at-bat. So quickly in her career, she's 2 for 2 with 2 home runs. And, you know, the ball's flying again, 3 home runs in that game too. So you got 7 home runs to the first, 12 or 13 innings of the year. So good to see the bats getting going. And the wind wasn't really blowing either. It was kind of a thing where, just found barrel, got backspin, hit the ball in the right spot, swung at quality pitches, and the ball kind of took off the bat for us. So shout out to the players kind of staying in with the game plan and kind of really trusting the process as we got into finally facing somebody else other than you and Faircloth and Layla and Brinkley and the whole staff that we've been going against all off season, get ready for game 1. We talked about Taylor, the 2 home runs coming off the ACL injury. It was so good to see her. I know last year she spent a lot of time with you, Sierra. Y'all were always in the cage, and she's kind of somebody that you confided in. You really kind of helped, to me, bring her along as well it kind of as a freshman, you're a senior, you're the All-American, she's the redshirt, and it's tough when you're a big recruit coming in, and all of a sudden 6 weeks into your fall, you have an injury and it takes you out for the rest of the year. Kind of walk us a little bit, or put us, kind of in the mind frame of Taylor. I know you spent a lot of time talking to her, kind of keeping her locked in with the strength training, really becoming the best player she can be, even though she wasn't ready to play last year for us.
Yeah, so once she got hurt, it kind of goes into how do I stay ready with having a whole year off? So how do I keep the mentality of going in the weight room, going in the cages, going into rehab every single day? And it's just like a big credit to her to keep going day in and day out. So especially like having me along with that, like keep going in the cages, keep going into rehab, like because I'm in there too with my shoulders. So doing that together, kind of pulling each other along, I think that's important as teammates and as friends. So.
Yeah, no doubt. And you could see that, yes, she took a year off, but she had a whole year of mental at-bats. She kind of stayed locked in, home, away, whatever, it didn't matter. She stayed, even though she wasn't getting an at-bat last year, she never really lost faith in what was going on with the process of her career. And it was good to see the ball really fly for her. She put together a tremendous at-bat, the second home run, on a drop curve down and into her. It was 2-2 count. I think she fouled off 4 or 5 pitches to get to that point and kept it fair. It was a Ken Griffey Jr. shot. We have the hit tracks in our cage that we rely on a lot of stuff with our drills and some of our focus work. And, sometimes when you get a really good blast, it'll have the sparks kind of coming behind the ball. And when it lands, you got the fireworks going off. And that's kind of what that looked like when that ball down the line. She hit it into the trees, well out of right field. But yeah, so happy to see the joy, the raised arms around to the bases, the joy that, hey, all this hard work, all of last year is kind of paying off, and was excited to see that with Trout.
Yeah.
We mentioned Zian making some tremendous plays on defense. She was kind of all over the field really all weekend. But after Taylor's first home run, Z hit one out to left center on the next pitch. So good to see the long ball go. And it was 7 home runs, like I mentioned, the first 2 games. We wound up hitting 9 over the weekend. Wow. So I have to go back and check the stats there. But 9 through the first 4 games has got to be kind of on pace with some of the best in school history. But, if you'd have asked me kind of going into opening weekend, what would that be kind of part of the storyline? I wouldn't have said that would have been part of the storyline. But good to see the ball leaving the yard, and credit the hitters, a lot of extra base hits. Key had several extra base hit styles. Zian, we mentioned, Nadia, a lot of balls really kind of traveling all over the yard there. The first real test, kind of switching gears to game 3, Wichita State came into town, a very good team. We mentioned that Coach Ricketts cut her teeth, so to speak, as a coach at Wichita State. The head coach there, Christie, is still the head coach of Wichita, has done a tremendous job, has some players in the pro league, have had All-American hitters coming through there. Their pitcher that they threw against us, game 2 of the doubleheader on Saturday, really had good stuff last year. She kind of kept our hitters at bay, really through 5 innings. We didn't score a run till late in the game. Those late innings, we talk about the 5th, 6th, and 7th, but it was good to kind of scratch one across. Layla gave us a quality start, allowed 1 run through 4 innings herself. And that kind of set the table into you to come in kind of in the 5th, 6th, 7th to be able to kind of shut the door down. But really good job by the Wichita State staff. We tied the game up in the 6th. Tried to send a go-ahead run in. I got her thrown out at the plate. I'll wear that one. They made a good relay to throw out a go-ahead run there in the 7th. But I looked at you and I said, hey, I need you to pick me up right here. And you did. You got the next 3 batters out on about 10 pitches. And it really set the stage for the 8th inning, the extra innings. And one thing about tournaments, a lot of times you get the ITB, something you don't see a lot, until the travel ball ranks. Yeah. But you get into the international tiebreaker rule. It allowed Tatum Silva to come in to be the runner at second. Z with the quality bunt. That was Dez in this spot. Z had the quality bunt to get us into scoring position to get the run on the board earlier in the game. But Dez, great bunt to get us to third. And then, from third base, there's so many opportunities to score. You got less than 2 outs, runner at 3, GB go scenario for us. And Zian didn't crush it, but kind of hit it in a right spot to the pitcher. Tatum got a tremendous jump, great slide at the plate. Next thing you know, it's 2-1 dogs, and now you kind of can relax a little bit. You got Peja in the circle for us. And that kind of set the stage for Styles with a big base hit to get us first and third, and then Nadia with a knockout punch, the 3-run bomb in the 8th. So once we get a 5-2 lead or 5-1 lead there, we felt pretty good about it. And you did a good job coming in, closing the game down. And kind of what was that like to you? You had the big 7th inning where there's a lot could happen in the 7th. We did it enough just to tie the game up. Now we're playing in a little bit of free softball there, but kind of walk us through the mindset of you there in the 8th. ITB, a runner on second base that's not your runner, kind of what goes through your mind as you're looking to get the next 3 outs?
Yeah, well, the thing that stood out to me the most was I was in a position where I knew my hitters had my back no matter what. And Nadia's home run, I wasn't even able to see it live. I was hiding in the back with my nose bleed. But to be able to see our hitters come through and like put some space in between our scores was awesome. And then I knew my job was just to get those 3 outs, and they didn't have to be strikeouts. I just had to let them put the ball in the play and let my defense work. And it's awesome to be able to be on a team like you can really trust that the bats and the defense will be right behind you, especially with the pitching staff we have too.
I agree. And, you mentioned the defense. There was 2 kind of strange outs in that game. We had a fake bunt, back base pickoff at first. So, we had a lot of pickoffs last year. We led the SEC in pickoff attempts by catchers last year, and it was quickly, we got another one again this year. So, Dez with a great job. Zion again in the right spot, put a quality tag on, was able to avoid the obstruction, which is such a thing in softball, particularly on rundowns and those types of plays. But she did a great job getting the tag down, cutting down a big runner. Then Layla induced a ground ball into a random double play earlier in the game. We got the lead out at 2, but now that the safety bag is in play, if you don't come back to the white base, you run the risk of being off the bag and being tagged out. That's exactly what happened. The middle infielders had heads-up awareness with that. Page was ready for it too. Quick back base throw to 1. We got the runner standing on the wrong bag. Now she's out, and all of a sudden you're out of the jam. So kind of a unique opportunity there with the double base, but it was good to see some of those back base picks. The pick-offs are always clutch. You kind of get us out of an inning. Even the one run that they did score on the base hit to right, Key did a good job throwing through the cut. The runner at 1 took a big turn. We got them in a rundown, and now they try to go first and third on that for the first and third rundown play. Styles, tremendous job as a veteran, as you'd expect at shortstop. Cut down that runner trying to go home, and we're out of that jam. So it kind of was able to keep them at 1, and we knew there was a point in time if you can just stay in the fight, sooner or later something's going to work for us. And it was kind of good to be tested early on. A little toughness Sunday on a Friday afternoon. We talk about that a lot.
Second game of the day, too.
Second game of the day, that's right.
Early morning and late night.
No doubt, no doubt. Quick turnaround, like you said. Our third game, their first game, so definitely, running on fumes to a degree. But good job by Marcy Hoppa, kind of keeping us conditioned and ready to roll. Macy, our training staff, doing a good job of keeping us locked in, ready to go too on the doubleheader that day. But it was good to find a way to win, and that's something that you got to do early on, especially. And it was good to come around 3-0 to get ready for the last game of the tournament. Kind of switching gears now into Saturday. So now it sure enough is Toughness Sunday on a Saturday. Game 4 in a really short window. And again, we got the crooked number early on. Styles, Oppo Taco to lead off the game. We haven't had a leadoff batter go Oppo Taco to lead off a game since Sacco was over here. So a few days ago. But yeah, Styles put a good swing on it. The wind was kind of cutting across to right, and it hit it in the right part of the field, got backspin on it. The ball really jumped off her bat, and quickly 1-0 Dogs, 3 pitches in. And then we didn't stop there. Got a 4 spot at the start. Bernardini with a huge 2-out RBI to score 2 runs later on that inning. And again, that's that magic 3 or more we're looking for, that 3 or more to indicate a big run inning there for us. So can't say enough about Faircloth. We've hit on Layla. We've hit on you twice. Brinkley got her first career outing against Northwestern State, had a 3-3 down inning to come in. But Faircloth kind of came back in on Saturday, and man, she was lights out. 14 strikeouts, just really had the ball moving all over the place. 3-pitch mix. She was doing a great job. Anna and Des both caught that game and did a tremendous job getting some marginal pitches for strikes. She had 4 Ks looking that game. So just really had a tremendous outing there. Coach T did a great job calling pitches for her too. And once again, defense made some tremendous plays. Styles with the ball up the middle, an SC top 10 play. The spin move, threw a dart to first, hit Page in the chest. Page had a big dig. We call it scoop juice. If you ever hear us reference scoop juice, that's a big dig at first base. But Page had one of those over there. And all in all, just a really solid weekend across the board from the pitching staff. We mentioned the timely hitting, and the defense was stellar behind you guys too.
100%.
So, Sacco, looking into this week, we got a big test again. A little bit of a rivalry team coming to town. Southern Miss, our friends from Hattiesburg, Mississippi, making the trek up here. We faced them last year down at their place, so they're returning the home and home this year. What are some of the things you're looking forward to as we get ready to open up News Park for the first time in 2026?
Well, anytime you face somebody in state, it's really important that you beat them, just so you have that kind of edge over anybody in state, so that way you can say that you run the SIP, So I would think it's a big matchup. It's somebody that we're expected to beat. So I think if we go out there, dominate, we do what we should do, it should be ball game. And then going back to like Peja, with it being your first weekend out, was it always kind of like the dream to play in SEC? And if so, like, how is that kind of living up to expectations?
Yeah, I mean, especially going in the portal, I didn't quite know where I was going to end up or what level I was going to end up at. And so for SEC team to reach out to me, that was amazing. And when I went to go make my pros and cons list when I was in the portal to see like what schools for me, the only con I could come up with was that I'm taking 3 math classes here.
Brutal.
And and I'm like, and if that's my con, I think I'm gonna be okay. So I ended up coming here, and putting on our jersey that morning, I was like, oh my gosh. And even when I went home during the winter, I went to go play catch with my dad, which is rare sometimes these days. And so it's awesome to be able to play catch with him. And I went to like look at my ball, and it said SEC on it. I was like, wow, to think how far I've come. Because little me always dreamed of this, but it wasn't quite in store for me yet. And so be able to put up that jersey on that morning and then be able to play a Power 4 team. I think my sophomore season was the last time I played a Power 4 team, and so to be able to come out my senior year and start against one was awesome, and to be able to shove a good game and have an amazing team behind me, and like you talked about the bats, man, that put a lot of cushion behind me. I don't think I was stressed like once this weekend besides my nosebleed, and that was the only time. But really the way our team works together is insane, and it's just awesome to be able to be on this amazing group of girls. And I haven't had to be stressed about a thing because I know my team has my back and the coaching staff does too.
Yeah. Awesome. Do you think it's kind of hit you yet that you're playing SEC, or is it kind of like still running its route?
I think once that first conference weekend comes, like things feel SEC, but once we're like playing SEC team, I'm like, man, we're here. Like, it's real now.
Awesome.
You know, you mentioned the 3 math classes, and you know, and we're big into stats. We're big into percentages. There's a lot of things that go through my mind in terms of putting on plays or whatever in the third base box. You know, when to send, when not to send. There's all these like analytics type stuff that goes into it. And if you want to spend about 3 hours of your day, you can talk to Coach Ricketts about that, because she is fine tuned into the analytics part of it. And you know, she's the best I've ever been around in terms of understanding the DP, the flex, you know, how all that stuff works in softball, and we manage that to to another level really this weekend, kind of getting a lot of players in. We have a really deep bench, you know, something we talked about and alluded to last week. Got a really deep bench, so got a lot of key players in. Got some speed off the bench that came in and stole some bases and scored some runs. And heck, at one point AG started the game in center, was in right for a minute, and then finished the game at second base. There's not a whole lot of center field to right field to second base swaps going along, but that's kind of how it was there in the back half of that Wichita State game. So but the numbers is key, and you mentioned the 3 math classes. You know, kind of looking into some stuff that made you very sought after coming out of the transfer portal is your 5.5 WAR. So WAR is wins above replacement, ranked 12th nationally among pitchers, and 10th among those that were returning in 2026. So you look at all the great arms in Division I softball, and there's a lot of them, from Pickens to Tennessee to Niger, Texas Tech. You go down the list, and you're in the top 10 nationally in that returning in 2026. Kind of says a lot about your game, and we knew if we could get you in with some of the run support. We scored 5 in all the games this weekend, really. So 5 or more. We've done that 85 times in our 102 wins in the last 3 years. So having 5 or more is huge. You know, we mentioned the 3-run innings being huge, but with your numbers, that bodes pretty well. You know, most of the time they're there for you or Alyssa or Layla, whoever's in the circle. So 5 runs, something we hang our hat on. We're trying to get to that point, and a lot of times we can get that big inning. It helps us do that. So you know, you kind of hit on that a minute ago with the run support. What is it like for you knowing that, hey, I'm touching the ball for the first time and the score is already 2-0? You know, does that kind of change your mindset as you go out there, or do you look at that at all into what you're trying to do as a pitcher?
Yeah, definitely changed the mindset a little bit. Game's not as close, but I always been told, preached to by my dad, was that never give them the momentum back, especially if your team's going to go score in the first inning or any inning. First batter, never walk them. Never give them the chance to be able to get on base. So it changed a little bit, but I also knew I couldn't allow Baylor to get any momentum going and allow it to become a hit fest between the two teams.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, those shutdowns, we talk about the shutdown innings. Anytime we score, we're looking to put up a 0. And yeah, we did a tremendous job. I had a lot of shutdowns on our shutdown chart we give out post-game. There was 7 or 8 different shutdowns throughout the weekend, which is huge. We talked about numbers again, Matt, 500 strikeouts. You're approaching 500 for your career, 25 away. The last person, I guess this is a question for you here. The trivia, what we get, you know, Brod's a big trivia guy. We have some little trivia here in town that we'll go to from time to time, but kind of sets the table for a trivia question. What you got for us, Sierra?
So the question is from Brian. Let's see, where did it go? There's only one person that has 500 strikeouts at all at MSU. Who is it?
All right, got to be somebody that had a lot of opportunities over their career. AO struck out a lot. My first year with us, AO was a senior, and she had a lot of strikeouts that year. She probably had 200 that year herself. E-Dub had a lot. You know, I'm going to have to go back to a two-way player here. Diminutive in stature, but had some pop at the plate, too. Wound up having a great pro career with the Akron Racers and a few others. I'm going to guess it's Alexis Silkwood.
And you're right.
All right, here we go.
What's new?
We'll get a shirt after this, right? Or a cup of coffee for the winners. But yeah, 500 strikeouts. I mean, that's such a big thing. And you know, there's a point in time where offenses weren't near as good as they are across the board nowadays. So it's hard to get 17, 18, 19 strikeouts again. Monica Abbott used to average about 15 a game. It sounded like. But hitters have gotten better. They're a lot, you know, putting balls in play, technology, the scouting. There's a lot of numbers and reasons why the offenses are better now. But 500 strikeouts, that's a pretty cool accomplishment. Knock on wood, hopefully we'll get that sooner rather than later. But yeah, 25 away. So pretty good start to the year coming into week 2 here. Sacco, any questions that you have for our esteemed guests here for us?
I would just say, like, what's the biggest thing that you are looking forward to?
Hanging out with our group of girls for sure, and just being able to compete at this level. That was a huge goal of mine going into the portal. So it's awesome to be able to be here now. Now the opportunities are presenting themselves, so be able to rise to the occasion when the events come. And I'm excited to do it with the group of girls we have, because truly I played on some great teams, but we have an awesome staff here and amazing team chemistry, and just we're all friends, and it's just awesome to be able to take the field with them and just know everyone has your back. So
Absolutely. That's exciting.
Well, switching gears now, we're rounding third, and when you're rounding third, you're heading home, which kind of tees it up naturally for a home game tonight. The show will air tomorrow morning, but you know, excited to have Southern Miss. We hit on that, and then the Snowman this weekend, one of the tournaments that we really get excited about every year at home. And Rutgers is coming to town, Murray State's coming to town as well, North Texas too, and you know, the Snowman means so much to us, and you see Alex's name on our outfield wall, and you know, she wore number 8, and her dad, you know, who'll probably make an appearance. He usually comes down and takes me and Coach Ricketts out for breakfast. It's always good to catch up, you know, with Sean Wilcox, Alex's dad, and you know, he tells a story about the Snowman, her being number 8. So the 8 kind of looks like a little snowman, and you know, me as a wannabe golfer, sometimes in the off season, I'm trying to avoid 8s at all costs. I don't want a snowman, and I've had the chance to play with your husband a few times, Kyle, and Kyle really bombs it. He bombs field goals, 56 yards, and Kyle can bomb a drive too.
Exactly.
Got a sweet little left-handed swing, kind of
I
like
have
Phil
too many
Mickelson.
8s. I get too many 8s. that's for
Sacco
sure.
gets 8s on par 3s, but
This is true.
but we're
We
not going
won't
to
talk
highlight
about
that too much.
We won't talk about that.
But the Snowman means a lot to us. Alex, you know, her legacy carries on. We got Alex's wall in the lobby as you come into our indoor facility, and you know, man, what a special young woman, and it's a great opportunity this weekend to kind of remember her and reflect about Alex and her career. And you know, we wear the teal in the SEC. Later on this year, we'll go teal in honor of Alex, and no one fights alone. But that tournament is something that we really get excited about, and looking forward to having some good weather. Hopefully the forecast will be good this weekend for us. Excited to have a big crowd here as we welcome the Snowman teams coming to town. And you guys come check us out. 4 o'clock today against Southern Miss, and then we've got a big weekend of games coming up as well. So for Sierra Sacco, our special guest, Peja Goold, I'm Tyler Bratton signing off. Hail State.
Hail State.
Hail State.